Welcome to the Fulfillment Project podcast, where we, the seekers, unite together to step into our higher selves and highest purpose. I'm your host, Simpli Sara, and I'm glad that we have found each other here today. My aim for this show is to give you some tools and strategies along with the awareness of emotional intelligence and intuition as you create a life and business from alignment, creating more joy and fulfillment every single day. Welcome to the Fulfillment Project podcast, or welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Simpli Sara, and this is a space where I talk to the woman behind the business, the woman behind motherhood, the woman behind all the labels that you hold for yourself, all the responsibilities and the priorities that you have in your life. Talk to you. How are you doing? How are you showing up and creating your reality? And today I want to talk to the woman who maybe feels a little bit lost. Perhaps that clarity or eagerness for your days is gone. That inspired energy just isn't there anymore. Maybe that happy productivity for whatever you're working towards is gone. And ultimately that vision, like what am I moving towards, is gone. And this can leave us in this space of just feeling lost. We might not feel like we know who we are. We might not feel like we know where we're going. We might not feel like we have a bigger vision that we're moving towards. And ultimately, it can feel like we're being forced through life. We're showing up in an energy out of force as opposed to power. In power, we feel in control. In power, we are in our own authentic energy. And that's really where we want to be. And that's why I teach aligned intelligence. How do we get back to a place of alignment in our true authentic power, where there is joy and fulfillment and inspired energy, and we feel on purpose? So ultimately, when we feel lost, we've lost our purpose. And the last episode that I did, if you haven't listened to that, I suggest you go back. It could be a reason why you are feeling lost. I've seen this happen in myself in the past, where I'm in a really busy season and I have a really finite look at what I'm working towards, whether it's a launch or creating a program or hosting an event and putting that together. And there's so much laser focused in a busy season of what is the production coming out of that, that when it's done, sometimes I can feel lost, especially if you listen to the last episode, if I've lost the connection with myself during those higher productivity and busier seasons. And so if that's you, awesome. I'm going to help you with that here today. Maybe you felt like you've been lost for a long time and you've been in this energy. Either way, I'm going to serve you on this podcast here today because I want to give you 4 ways to help you find yourself again, find that connection, and ultimately bring in new inspired energy. And this is the feminine. This is the feminine energy, and why I'm speaking to the woman who perhaps came off of a really busy season, who was in her masculine so much. If you lost connection to yourself during that, you most likely have lost connection with your feminine essence. And so let's bring that back, girl. Let's bring that back, because this is not going to happen by doing the same thing. This is what I want you to take away from this episode. We got to play again. We got to have fun. We got to bring adventure back into your life, and let's create some inspired energy. We need to break out of routines. We need to do different things. We need to stimulate the senses differently so that we become inspired again. When we action from inspired energy, the tasks we're doing don't feel hard. When we action from inspired energy, we feel like our actions are coming through our intuition, or our creations are coming through from our intuition. When we are in inspired energy, we feel on purpose. And so that's what you're looking for. And we can't think our way there, unfortunately. We can't just wait for it to come back, which it usually does if you give yourself enough time, because you've probably just let yourself maybe get burnt out, let your energy get down. And it's been a long time where you push everything away and you're like, okay, let me just restore here and I can go back into it. My goal for you with this whole show and working and helping you with alignment is that you stay always aligned, so that we don't go through these roller coasters throughout a given year where we're not, on fire and on purpose and loving life. And then we're like, oh God, like, where's my life going? What am I doing? Who am I? Life feels good again. I have a vision. And then we're right back down into more of a fatigued, lower, dense energy. Let's stop that. Okay. So here, I want to help you with 4 ways to help you get back connected with that inspired energy. And like what I said, we need to learn how to play, have fun, and be adventurous again. If you're someone who really likes traveling, if you feel most alive when you travel, if you feel like you connect back with yourself when you travel, if you feel like your mind opens up and you have awesome downloads and creativity while you travel, it's because you are playing, you are having fun, and you are on an adventure. And we can tap into that in our everyday life. We don't have to go somewhere in order to get that connection back with ourselves. We don't need to bring anything into our life. We don't need to find someone else. We don't need people to change in order for us to find that connection back with ourselves. Whenever we are looking at a specific date, time, or location before we can feel aligned again, if we're looking for someone else to change before we can feel aligned again, or if we're looking to bring something more into our life to feel aligned again, this is a very conditional way of living. And ultimately, it will be out of your control for the alignment and the peace and the ease and the joy and the fulfillment that you feel if we have all these conditions that need to be in place in order for us to feel okay, or for us to feel centered, or for us to feel aligned or connected with ourselves. And so, the first thing I'm going to recommend is change up your routine. This is simple. We all have routines, whether your routine is intentional or not, we all have routines. Just think about when you first wake up in the morning. What are the 5 things that you do usually back to back when you first wake up in the morning? Do you go to the bathroom? Do you feed a pet? Do you do a meditation? Do you get kids up? Do you eat? Do you brush your teeth? Do you go for a walk or exercise? Like, what are the things that you do in a morning? Let's say within the first hour or two of waking up. Can you shift up and shake up what that routine is? Maybe just place the things that you normally do within that time for your morning routine, move it around differently. I think I've talked about this here on the podcast, but I do this all the time. Sometimes I wake up and I'll feed the cats and have some warm lemon water and sit and maybe do some emails or do a bit of reading. And then I like to get outside for a walk. Or if I'm shifting things up, I have my clothes ready right beside my bed and I'm like up in my clothes and like out the door. Something very simple like that. Same goes for an evening routine. If you have an evening routine, how can you shift that up? Or how can you bring something new into your evening routine? How can you bring some new energy? Again, this is all about new energy into your routine. You can change up your driving routines. Maybe you take a different way to drop the kids off at school. You take a different way to go run errands. You take a different way to a family member or a friend's house. Maybe you just decide to turn right down this street instead of left and see where it takes you. Adventure, having fun, playing. So shift up your driving routines. The other thing too that we can do is switch up where we do errands, groceries, for example. Sometimes I play and have fun with this, and I'm like, I'm going to go to Mississauga, which is our next town over, or Burlington. They're both about 15 minutes away. So, or I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to Mississauga and I'm going to do my grocery shopping today. Just something different. Go to a different grocery store, even go to a different grocery store within your city that might be maybe another block away or 5 minutes away. Something different. It's going to open your senses up again. You're going to get out of that autopilot mode that we so easily can fall into. You're going to have to be more alert. You're going to have to pay more attention. Again, opening up your senses. This will bring in new and inspired energy. It will open up your mind differently. You'll get out of the regular thinking patterns because you'll have to think differently because your exterior world has changed. So, changing up routines in any way, shape, or form is the first thing that I recommend. The second thing that I recommend is to remove any logic systems or processes learning that you're doing. And so bringing in that new inspired energy, playing, having fun, adventure, that feminine energy, we need to get out of the masculine. And so, as an example, I was craving such new, fresh energy into my life last summer. And I actually took all last summer. I didn't add anything new into my business. I didn't learn anything. I wasn't listening to podcasts or reading books on marketing or systems or structures or launching or anything to do with business, to be honest. I wasn't signing up for any courses. I wasn't learning at all. And what we want to do is shift from a doing state to a being state. So playing, having fun, adventure, we're being, we are in the moment, we are experiencing. Whereas the masculine is very doing, it's very giving, it's very system structures, logical. And to the feminine, that can be very draining if you're in that for too long. If the feminine essence is in the masculine for too long, she will 100% lose connection with herself and feel lost. And so have a look at What are the types of podcasts that I'm listening to? What are the types of books that I'm listening to? Who are the type of people that I'm following on Instagram? What are the action steps that I'm taking in my business? Am I in a very masculine role? Am I adding things? Am I learning things? Am I implementing a new tech system? If it's possible for you right now, I recommend removing all of that. Now, for how long? I don't know. That's something that's very individual for when you're going to feel like you have fresh, new, inspiring energy and capacity to want to show up with the things that we're doing, to feel engaged, to be inspired, to feel that happy productivity, to have that bigger vision again. When you feel like you've found that connection to yourself again, then bring them back in. And this fluctuates. I've noticed myself through different seasons. I kind of do this little bit of a logic systems processes detox for a week. A week can be really rejuvenating. Um, like I said last summer, I had to take it away for a good like 3 months. Took that all away, came back with a very revived energy. And so tap into yourself and see what you're going to need for this. Say you're going to do it for a week. See how you feel, and then go from there. You know best. You know best. My third piece of helpful advice for you today is bring music in. So I know as business owners, it can be easy to want to like listen to the podcast and learn information and bring all this new stuff into us. So if you're removing a lot of logic and systems and masculine energy from a consumption perspective out of your life, let's bring in some feminine entertainment or however you want to occupy your mind or occupy your experience. Music is so beneficial for that. And I notice sometimes when I lose this connection to myself, I'm like, yeah, I haven't really been going on my walks and listening to music. I've been listening to podcasts or listening to an audiobook. Oh, yeah, I haven't really, put music on when I had a shower and just really, sank into that moment or listen to music while making dinner and dance and play around. So music can be very free. Music brings in such inspiring energy. Music can open up your creativity. Music can get us grounded in our body again and get us moving in more of a fluid dance party type of way that inspires that feminine energy. And my fourth piece of advice for you today is to play. Play, 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 play. Some of us have just lost this childlike wonder to have fun and to play. And this was me for so long. And to be honest, I this has to be very intentional for me. It's not innate in me to want to just play and let go of all the responsibility and have fun. I'm getting so much better at it though. And so some examples to help you: go buy a kite. Decide you're going to go fly a kite. Dollar store sells kites for the maybe one time experience that you want to give yourself. If the kite rips, not a big deal. Go fly a kite. Something that you normally wouldn't do that's going to shake up your routine and do something fun and get you in the moment. And playing is really about doing something for no other reason other than just enjoying that time. Feminine energy. We're not looking to accomplish anything. We're not looking to really do anything for a specific purpose. We're doing it for the experience of doing it. Take yourself on a picnic. Buy a coloring book. Joe and I did this years ago. We went and bought a coloring book, and it was these beautiful mandalas. And so there were so many different sections, and you could sit there for hours and just color. Sometimes on a Saturday, we'll throw music on if the kids aren't around, and we really need to get in a playful state, and we'll color and we'll talk and just sink into that moment. Coloring is such a way to bring in that inspired energy again. Maybe you want to be around children. That childlike wonder, that joy, that pure energy of just wanting to be in the moment and experience the moment and create a moment for yourself. Be around children if you can. And then my other piece of advice for this is puzzling. I started puzzling again since I was a child. It was a couple of Christmases ago where I was feeling this just disconnection. Oh, I think it was when we had our facility. We just got HQ. It was a really, I'll say, high productivity phase. I was so out of alignment. I felt like I lost myself. I was feeling so burnt out. And over the Christmas holidays, I started accumulating all these puzzles. And I think I spent like 6 weeks of just puzzling, coming back to it, putting on some music, maybe sitting with it for an hour, maybe taking like a 10-minute break or 15-minute break from work and do some puzzling. Get yourself out of your mind into the present moment and play and just be with yourself. It's so rejuvenating to our soul. It is so rejuvenating to our feminine energy and brings back in that clarity and eagerness. It brings back in a happy productivity. It brings back in inspired energy. And ultimately, it brings you back to you. Because when we feel like we feel lost, we feel like we have just lost that connection with ourselves. And so shake up your routine, remove the logic, systems, processes, any type of like doing masculine energy, learning or doing. Bring some music and maybe even some fun new music. Search on Spotify and play and have fun. It sounds simple, but will you allow yourself to do it? Connecting back with ourselves doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take a long time. And if you're in a phase of not really enjoying where you're at, it's uncomfortable to maybe get still. Maybe you feel like you're being busy just to feel like you're being productive because you feel lost and you don't know what to do with that time. Here, this is what you can do with your time. Everything here that I've talked about on this episode. So I hope this has served you, my friend. You are never lost. You just need to reconnect back with yourself. And we can always do that through intentional work. This is really the process I call awakening. We need to awaken our higher self again. We need to awaken a higher potential. We need to awaken an inspired energy. And it's the second phase of aligned intelligence, of getting back to our center and aligning back with ourself. That first phase is awareness on our life, awakening the higher self. We need to activate a different whole self. And then the daily work is the regulating and calibrating and just embodying that higher version of ourself all the time. And so, whether you feel lost or disconnected from yourself at all, everything I talked about here on this podcast will help you even on a daily perspective. And so, if you're someone who has felt like you haven't played in a while, go play, have fun, have an adventure, take yourself on a date, go out, to a different grocery store, like show up for yourself. Really, this is what it is. It's like show up for yourself because your higher self is screaming for that connection. And you will feel so much more at peace and at ease when you find that version of yourself again, who is most likely in the play, fun, and adventure. I hope this has served you well, my friend. I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining me on this episode today. My website, simplysara.com, is a great place for me to continue to support you on your journey to alignment, joy, and fulfillment. There you will find upcoming retreats that I am hosting, resources, books, and many other helpful tools to help you on your travels through this thing called life.